But hello, I'm Tom Konrad. I'm an energy coach for New Yorkers for Clean Power. We give free energy coaching to help people transition to clean energy and save money at the same time. Um, the and this talk is basically looking at what you can do with your Central Hudson bill to save money or shift to green energy. But we do a lot more than that if you're looking at heat pumps or solar or considering an EV. We have coaches for all sorts of things like that. So, okay. So hacking your Central Hudson electricity bill. There's a lot of tricks you can actually do to save money with that. Here's what I'm looking at. We're going to talk about where the electricity comes from, just understanding the bill before you start hacking it. There's energy supply companies, community choice aggregation, community solar, and then there's some little known things like time of use rates and smart charge that can actually cut a fair amount off your bill. But so you may see this graph when you log into Central Hudson's website. This is the last 12 months history prices. There's two parts of your electric bill. There is this, there's the delivery charge, which is the first section on the back of your bill. And that's pretty much a fixed charge per kilowatt hour plus $20 a month. That's where Central Hudson actually makes their money. The green line, the variable price, is the price of the actual electricity. Central Hudson doesn't make money on that. They're just mandated to go out into the market and buy whatever's available at the time that you need it. And so that's a pass-through. So sometimes when Central Hudson prices get really high, it's not actually their fault. But they do keep on hiking this, asking the utility, to the PSC, the regulator, to hike this fixed charge, which is actually, there's an ongoing rate case now that may have just ended where they asked for a very large fixed charge increase. So looking at this on your bill, these are the parts of the bill talking about the energy supply, the green line, the part that changes, the part that you can do something about. And these are three different real bills from last year. And the prices are a little lower now, but this is how you can figure out what price you are actually paying compared to alternative energy supplier or ESCO if they're coming and saying, hey, we're going to sell you electricity for 10 cents a kilowatt hour. This is how you tell whether it's a good deal. What you're currently paying is usually this number down at the bottom. They say, you know, the Central Hudson puts it together for you, but it's also this number here. When you are on a different energy supplier, it's just one line. It's this number here. So this person's paying 12 cents for green electricity. This is how much I was paying last spring because I'm on the time of use rate, which I'll get into earlier. And this is somebody who was paying Central Hudson when prices were really high last January, but not on a time of use rate or anything. So if you're on Central Hudson's electricity supply, this is a graph of where it's been coming from. This red bar was nuclear. It's gotten much smaller since we closed. What's it? Inky Point. Really, there's not that much at the top. We have hydro, wind, solid waste, which is burning trash, incinerating trash to make electricity, and a little bit of solar. But at the moment in the Hudson Valley, we're mostly getting our electricity from gas. So that's what you're getting if you stay with Central Hudson. I think that's the main reason to choose an alternative energy supplier. You may see a low teaser rate from an energy supplier that's lower than your current rate, but typically after a year or two, that teaser rate ends and they give you a higher price. So the only way to sort of stay with a good price with an ESCO is if you want to go back every year and find a new contract. But you can buy green electricity that way. If you stay on Central Hudson, you're not getting green electricity. There's another alternative. Some local municipalities have chosen an energy supplier for everybody in that town that doesn't choose their own. And because they're doing it as a group with a lot of accounts, they can often get a better price. Locally, there are two. There's Hudson Valley Community Power, which serves Marbletown, New Paltz, Town and Village, Sorgetes, and Gardner. So if you're in one of those municipalities, but you haven't chosen your own energy supplier, you're probably getting a default from them. Currently, the default is 50% green, which is a lot more than the standard, at a fixed price of 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Here's somebody who was on it, but they were actually, they opted up to go 100% renewable at 12 cents. So my short thing on ESCOs, alternative energy suppliers, is unless you really want green electricity, it's probably not worth it. If your town or municipality has joined a CCA, you're likely to get a competitive price. Right now, the Hudson Valley Community Power price is a bit higher than Central Hudson prices because they entered into a new contract last summer when prices were higher, and prices have since fallen. But every couple of years they go back and they'll do it again, and it'll be, the best you can get. Entering into contact with an ESCO or a CCA, it's like buying your fuel oil for the winter ahead of time. Sometimes you do well, sometimes you don't. But the nice thing about a CCA as opposed to an ESCO is if you are in one of those municipalities where you got opted in to the CCA, right now you can opt out at any time. So if you choose your own ESCO, you sign a contract that you're with them for 1 or 2 years. And so if Central Hudson prices start dropping and you want to take advantage of lower current prices, you can't do that because you signed a contract. With the CCA, you can opt out. You can opt out at any time, and you can either sign up with your own ESCO that you might be able to get a better price at if you want green electricity, or just stay with Central Hudson prices until the CCA gets a new contract. So that's why CCA is basically for getting a good price, even if they are in the unfortunate situation where they locked in their price at a high when the prices were high. The individuals have an option of opting out, which you wouldn't if you did it on your own. So now we come to one of the sure things in electricity, which is community solar or community distributed generation. Unfortunately, it sounds very much like CCA, which is community choice aggregation. They're totally different things. You can do both. You can do one or the other. A CCA, community solar, when a solar farm is built in Central Hudson territory, they produce electricity and they have to sell it to Central Hudson because Central Hudson has the wires. Central Hudson pays them in Central Hudson bill credits. And what you're doing when you sign up with a community solar farm is you're saying, hey, I'll take some of those bill credits you're getting from Central Hudson, and I will pay you 90 cents on the dollar for those bill credits, which is a good deal. You're just saving money. It's a good deal for the solar farm because they can't do anything otherwise with those bill credits. They need cash. So this is an example of, there's sort of two types of community solar setup. There's one where the community solar farm puts a credit on your bill, and then they send you a separate bill. So you have one more bill than you did before, but the total numbers are smaller. In this example here, this is the Central Hudson bill. They get $169 of, this up top is the Central Hudson bill. There's their $169 credit. They're paying for $169 of credits, but they get this 10% discount, so they only paid $152. And one thing with separate bills, I'm not sure if this is true for every community solar non-consolidated, but in this particular case, you're actually paying for your credits 3 months after you use them, which has some value. The other way community solar can be set up is a consolidated bill. Here's somebody who gets the credit right here, this $197 credit, on the same bill where they're paying for it. So you don't get that delay, but you also don't get another bill. It's just a nice, simple savings. Your Central Hudson bill goes down. You don't have to think about it. So basically, if you're eligible for community solar, which basically means you don't have solar on your roof, you should sign up if you're not already. It's basically free money. Currently, I believe in somewhere in that room there is a Solstice representative. Solstice is a community solar supplier. Pretty much the difference between all the community solar suppliers is whether they have consolidated billing or not. I'm not sure which is Solstice. You know, if you really hate having two bills, you want to have consolidated billing. If you really like not paying for your credits for 2 or 3 months after you use them, then you don't want consolidated billing. But usually if you just sign up with Easy Pay, you know, you don't have to think about either if you just sign up for automatic payment. So the biggest difference is the incentive they give you for signing up. Right now, I understand Solstice, if you sign up here, is offering you a $50 gift card and a $50 credit for and a $50 payment to UU Catskills. There you can also go sign up on that Central Hudson has a nice market for this. It looks like this. These are some of the options up there. The best option currently, I helped someone sign up yesterday, is a $75 bill credit. I think the getting $50 for you and $50 for UU Catskills seems like a better deal to me. So if I were in that room, I were not currently signed up for community solar. After this talk is done, I'd go sign up. If you live in Marbletown, I'd appreciate it if you contact me at marbletownecc@gmail and let me know you signed up. I and a lot of the other towns, Marbletown and a bunch of the other towns in the county, are working on what's called a community campaign. And if we get a certain number of signups, depends on whether you've done it before, you get a grant from NYCP, which the town can use. So I just want to emphasize that buying green electricity from an ESCO or a community choice aggregation is different from community solar. You can do both. You should do community solar. Whether you buy green electricity, it usually does cost you a little bit more. So you do it basically depending on how green you are. And if you are signed up with an ESCO, an energy service company, through your own, you really need to stay on top of it and not let them raise your rate when your contract expires. You need to find a new one whenever your contract expires. So now we're going to get into the more esoteric stuff. A lot of time of use rates. Time of use rates basically reward you for using electricity when there's not as much demand for it. For Central Hudson, peak demand is typically between 2 and 7 p.m. on weekdays, not weekends. This chart here comes from their website. And basically it's saying that if when you buy off peak, you were only paying 16 cents total. This includes the delivery charge. While if you were paying for the standard rate, you'd be paying 22 cents. When you shift to a time of use rate, you basically pay a little bit more during those peak hours between 2 and 7 p.m. on weekdays, and a lot less off those hours. You can generally save money if you shift more than 83% of your electricity usage off peak, which is not terribly hard because those peak hours are only about 85% of the time. So here's a graph of New York energy usage by month. The different lines are monthly, and then the x-axis here is time of day. You see in between these red lines, the peak times. This is not accounting for weekends, but it would be even more pronounced if I only had weekdays in here. You can see that generally usage is higher. So that's why it's cheaper then. Deciding whether you want to go on a time of use rate is whether you have the ability to shift your power. So here's somebody who has an electric vehicle. That's one of the easiest ways to shift your usage. He was able to shift 10%, all but 10% of his electricity use to off-peak. And if you follow my calculations through here, he saved $35 that month by shifting his electricity usage. And he can also do community solar. And he saved $23 by doing community solar at the same time. So it's pretty significant if you can shift your usage. And not many people have heard about it. You can achieve savings even if you don't have an EV, if you have programmable thermostats and use electricity or heat pumps for heat, because that's the other really big electricity user in most homes. Another option for EV owners is this new Charge Smart program. It's a little bit, it's a little simpler than time of use rates. You don't have to worry about when your electricity is being used other than just your EV. But you have to have a electric vehicle that's compatible with the program. Basically, you sign up and you give Central Hudson information access to the software that lets you know when you're charging. And for every kilowatt hour of charge that you did, they give you about 5 cents, which is comparable to the amount of savings you would have gotten on a time of use rate just for EV, but you don't get the advantage of shifting other things. So you can't do both Charge Smart and the time of use rate. The time of use rate is better if you can also shift a lot of your other usage. Charge Smart is good. Well, you have to have a qualifying EV or a charger that works, but it's easier not to have to worry about all your other charges. But there are bigger potential savings with the EV time of use rate. You can do time of use rate with or without an EV. If you have an EV, Central Hudson gives you a guarantee that for the first year, you will save money. They go back and look at your usage. And if you didn't save money, they just give you the price that you would have gotten charged if you hadn't been on the rate. And then you can shift off. Charge Smart will definitely save you money. It just won't save you as much. Again, if you have an EV. One other trick you can do that helps with time of use rates is if your solar faces west, it's producing a lot during the peak times. And that is another reason you might want to be on EV time of use rate. I have somewhat southwestish facing solar on my house, and I'm on the time of use rate. And basically, I pay 0 peak, and all my electricity use that's left after my solar is off peak. So that works really well. But say if you have a lot of solar, if you have so much solar that it covers all your usage, it doesn't really matter if you're on the time of use rate. There's no savings because you're not paying for power, but you can still take advantage of Charge Smart. I don't have quite enough solar, so the EV time of use rate works better for me. Finally, here's some really useful resources. The Public Utility Law Project is really helpful for people who are having trouble with billing with Central Hudson. They're a nonprofit that helps advocate for ratepayers. The Regional Clean Energy Hub, Mid-Hudson Energy Choices, is very good for helping people take advantage of programs for low income and rebates you can get to weatherize your home, etc. There's a program, Solar for All, which will get you community solar, that'll get you community solar at an even better rate price than 10% off. They actually just give you some money off. And then there's subsidized financing for energy upgrades. And finally, on the right here, if you go to nyforcleanpower.org, clean energy coaching, You can sign up for a coaching session with me or one of our other coaches, and we can help walk you through building a plan on not just this stuff, how to save money on your electricity bill, but how to shift off fossil fuels entirely. Usually while saving money. Depends on how aggressive you are by shifting, but there are usually ways people can save money with the rebates and so forth as they shift. So here are the takeaways I'd like you to have from this talk. Changing your energy supplier is really, it's hard to save money doing that. If you want green electricity, it's something you can do, but you really have to stay on top of it. If you're not signed up for community solar and you don't have solar on your roof, it's a no-brainer. Do it, and you happen to have someone who's offering a really good deal in the room with you right now. So go to the Solstice rep and sign up. Time of use rates and charge smart. Time of use rates great if you have ways to shift your electricity usage off peak. It really is very significant savings, and a lot of people don't use it. Charge smart gives you some smaller savings, but it's a little bit easier. You don't have to think as much. And if you want to learn about more things you can do to save money and green your energy usage, sign up for a coaching session. Great. Thank you, everybody. Hope you learned a lot, and feel free to sign up for coaching and definitely sign up for community solar at the end. Goodbye.